Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Naeem Mahmood. He's peak performance strategist, performance coach, and master of building relationships. He is the founder of Mood Ventures and partner of Performance Coach University. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Cannot wait to share a story with you today. Thank you for coming on the show today, Naeem.
Thanks for having me, Bryce. I'm really excited to be here.
Nice, you're welcome. Before we go any further, for those watching, if you are watching this from any location that is outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you inside. It's taken a tremendous amount of time and energy to cultivate such a positive group of people who want to see each other succeed. So if that's what you're missing in these times, we're going to come and join us by clicking the link either above or below the video and join us right now. Now, Naeem, what was life like before you got into coaching and training, and what was the catalyst that brought you into the space?
Before it was a lot of push and a lot of stress and a lot of burnout, I'd say. I worked at a hedge fund on Wall Street. I was kind of going down that kind of ladder, right? And also just kind of the corporate world too. And I got into it just because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was kind of going down. I did that because my friends were doing it. My family did it. And it was kind of the thing you should do, right? But then I just started reading personal growth books and exploring what's out there. And to me, it was like a brand new concept of I can create my life the way I want to create my life. I don't have to do certain things. So that was kind of it sounds obvious and silly, but to me, it was like, what, really? So that was kind of cool to me, and I just kept going, and I kind of find myself here now.
Let me ask you this cool question. So do you think that maybe your background in Wall Street kind of gives you a different perspective than, most other coaches when you came into the space?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Yeah, for sure. I definitely never planned on being a coach, and I definitely think I come at it from a different lens and a different filter, and I'm more of a business mindset, and I kind of bring that to the coaching space.
Nice. That's cool. I think that's that's a really cool, because wow, that's really great, because you have the business background and you have all that experience. And then, so let me ask you this question. So are most people that come to work with you from more of that business background, or are they more from the creative kind of background?
Yeah, so for one-on-one coaching and the group coaching we do, or I do also with my company, Mood Ventures, that's more a lot of my, again, just because I was in that work industry, a lot of my clients are finance guys, right? And girls as well, but mostly men are my kind of ideal client, mainly because I'm a man, right? But I also worked in Silicon Valley too for a bit at a venture fund. So a lot of my penetration in that world too, the kind of tech world and startups, but really just people that are doing really good in business and making a lot of money, but they're not doing so good in their health and their mindfulness, and they don't really have much balance, and also the relationships, right? So they come to me because they want to kind of get things on a more even keel. I don't want to say even keel, but just improve those areas too, right? Because what's the point of making all this money and being so successful if you're not going to share it with somebody and be healthy and well to enjoy it?
Just kind of thinking about, maybe nowadays how we're kind of in, a time of transition. So maybe a lot of people that, like you were saying, are really successful right now. Maybe they're, thinking and reflecting a little bit differently. Do you have any tips on how and where maybe to start the reflection process?
About what? Just their careers?
Well, like you were saying, they might have their career in order, but then other areas in their life, but maybe they got separated, or now their fitness sucks. Where should they start?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'd say, again, it's a basic question, but to me, for most people don't notice it, and I didn't either. It's what do you want, right? To me, that was I shouldn't ask what I want, or I didn't even think that. I was always asking, what should I do, right? Looking for approval from my mom, my dad, society, right? People around me. But now I train myself to say, what's my outcome, right? So to anybody that's listening that wants to figure out what to improve, it's what's most important to you now? Is it your health? Is it your relationship? Is it your business? Is it your money? Is it having fun, right? You got to figure out what your top values are. And then from there, you got to start making a game plan, hire a coach, right? Start visualizing, right? Start meditating on that, right? There's all these tools you can use that we also teach in our program, Performance Coach University, on how to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's not just vision boards are cool and believing it's cool. That's kind of the first step. You got to believe, but it's not money's going to fall out of the sky, or a relationship's going to happen. Successful people, they do certain things, right? LeBron James isn't the best player because he's lucky. He's the best player because he works harder than anybody, even still, right? And he also invests more money than any player in the league on his body. And a lot of guys have just as much money as he does, but he's just more committed.
Yeah. Can you talk about that commitment level? Because I know that even when I have conversations just with people in general, maybe they've created the outcome and they've thought about what they want, but then once they start hitting that wall, that commitment gets tested. Maybe can you talk about how to keep that commitment level higher when things get hard?
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's kind of where we talk about building resilience, right? Because we all need to build resilience. And I don't care how successful, even right now with COVID and the economy, look at the most successful people, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, all their companies are hit right now, right? Like they had to lay off a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how successful you are, like you got to have resilience, like you just brought up. It's a great question. So how do you do it? Again, it goes back to your rituals, right? Your mental, emotional, physical, even spiritual, right? If you want to go there, to like, what are you doing to build? It's like a muscle, right? Like if you go to the gym, you're going to be strong and healthy and vibrant, right? So if you work on your mindset and you work on your emotional kind of intelligence, you're going to be able to withstand those tragic things people call, like if it's a divorce or if you get in a car accident, God forbid, right? Or if you lose your job or if your company tanks, like there's resilient people. They're like, all right, that sucks, but let's move on and let's figure this out. And there's other people that like, they let it get the best of them. And I'm not judging or pointing fingers, but that's the difference, right? There's like, it's really how you respond to failure, right? Like some people react and say, this is the end, or some people react and say, you know what, I'm going to change the world. There's a really good book called Man's Search. Have you read Man's Search for Meaning before?
I've heard about it, never sat down and read it.
Good, yeah. It's by Viktor Frankl, and that's probably the best example I could suggest to somebody if they want to get better at like understanding that commitment. Because at the end, like this guy was in a Nazi concentration camp, right? He was a psychiatrist, and I can't imagine a worse scenario than that, right? There's maybe like so, but he said like kind of the moral of the book is we as humans we have the ability to give meaning to the situation, right? So I'm not saying bad things don't happen. Like people get raped, unfortunately. But say two people went through the same terrible experience. One person says they kind of take the victim approach. And again, I'm not saying that I'm pointing fingers. I'm just saying they kind of say it's unfair, life's too hard, like, and they kind of go through that their whole life. Or one other person, same story, right? Maybe they got, or same experience, right? Maybe they got raped or their company fell apart. And the other one said, hey, you know what? Forget that. I'm going to like inspire the world. I'm going to help more people. And that's how you get an Oprah Winfrey, right? Oprah Winfrey, she was raped when she was like a 12-year-old girl all her life by her uncles and other people around her. And that she, instead of letting it hold her down, she used that as fuel to become who she is today. And we all know who she is.
Yeah. Let me ask this question. So, you talked a little bit about some of the cool programs you have. Maybe can you just tell us a bit more about what that program looks like, who it's for maybe?
Yeah, sure. So the main one right now that I'm working on that I'm really excited about, and right now because it's so relevant with COVID, like you were saying to me earlier, it's like now more than ever, people need people like yourself, people like me, people like that are listening to this, which I love. And I love the community you're building too, right? Because that's a people like we're coming together and we want to support ourselves, but also have a ripple effect around the world, right? So we're doing the same thing, right? We want to train and certify coaches we're certified with ICF and BCC to really get the skill set and the tools to be a great coach and deliver the results people need with confidence and certainty. But then also, again, a lot of people just know a lot of stuff, but they don't actually go out and use it. And one, build a business so they can make money, right? But then two, it's not just about making money. Go help people. That's the ultimate goal, right? But you can't help people if you're in scarcity, right? People think, a lot of people, they stay broke. And I used to do this too, right? I used to stay broke because I felt bad for my friends or my family. I'm like, but you can't help people if you're poor, right? You could help more people. If you make more money, you build a business, you can give more to charity, you can build cool programs like you're doing too, and you can have a bigger reach and make a bigger difference in the world. So really that's kind of the main program, and that's what it's about, really empowering people to learn the skill set to help themselves and help more people.
Nice. Where can maybe people either learn more about you or some of the cool stuff you have going on?
Yeah, so they can check out my website's naeemmahmood.com. The spelling should probably be in the notes here, yeah?
So, or you can spell it as well?
Yeah, okay, so my first name is Naeem, Naeem, as in mango. And then my last name is Mahm, as in mango, Ood as in dog. And then at naeemmahmood.com. I was thinking about my email for a second.
Yeah.
And then the other company is Performance Coach University, and that's performancecoachuniversity.com. And then on social media, I'm Naeem, at Naeem Mahmood for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
Awesome.
And I have a podcast actually called Peak Performance Humans, which is where I kind of interview top performers and coaches and people doing great stuff in the world, and kind of understanding what are their beliefs, what are they doing, what are their behaviors, because again, the rituals for them to be successful, because you're not just lucky, Bryce. You do hard work every day to get where you're at, right? I saw the work you did, and I did some research on you, and you're not lucky, right? Like you work your butt off every day to like put yourself in that place, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Some people say you're lucky when they don't do the
of
work,
both.
right?
It's a bit of both. Like we're lucky to be born. We're lucky to be born in this time period, right? Like it's the best time ever to be alive in human history, right? So for sure, there's like whatever you want to call it, like some luck, but for sure, there's also definitely a point of you could choose right now what you're gonna do for the rest of the day. Are you gonna go to sleep and eat Doritos, or are you gonna go to the gym and make some more sales calls and help more people and all that stuff? You know?
Excellent. That's true. Yeah. The only people who say it's like all luck are the people who, just either haven't seen the journey or just, maybe.
Yeah. I love that quote where it says, luck is where success, opportunity meets hard work, right? And then the other one, I think Dr. J said it. He said it's basically, or one is people are rewarded in public for what they do in private.
Yeah.
Somebody like Kobe Bryant and Dr. J and all these guys, they work their butts off all the time. Nobody sees them. Right. But then they get the glory, like, dude, Kobe's so lucky. Like he dropped 61 in his last game. No, like he wakes up at 4 a.m. every freaking day and works his butt off more than anybody else in the world. That's why he's lucky.
I was thinking about that because, since his birthday was a little while ago or a few days ago, depending on where you see it from, like, because he was working out so much longer, but his career was so much longer than most people. So it's like, but other people who weren't working out as much or as frequently, their career was like short. So that's just kind of like a weird.
That's so true.
Not oxymoron, but like opposite of what you would expect.
Yeah, right. It's so true. Yeah, and it's probably because he just worked on his body too so much, right? Rehabbing and putting in the extra, like LeBron, right? Like the extra investment financially, but also the extra effort to take care of his body. But you're right, right? You usually think, if I work so hard, I'm going to get burned out or I'm not going to have time. But there's this weird universal law where sometimes it's the opposite, right? So
let me ask you this question, because I was on an interview and the person was like, doing eight discovery calls or 8 enrollment calls a day is crazy. You're going to burn out. And I'm like, just to kind of set the scene for the question, I'm like, but the more I do, the more I see I can do, and it gets easier. Like, do you agree with that too? Or do you think that if you do like, too much, then you're going to just burn out,
Oh, dude, I agree with you 100%. There's this weird compounding, right? Just like compounding your money, investing, right? It's compounding to me, it's compounding your emotions over the day, right? If I get wins in early in the morning, it's like coaching takes a lot of energy, right? Physical and emotional energy. It's like I give my life force, but also you're giving. I love this quote, and I learned it from Tony Robbins, my mentor. I worked for him for a while. He says, the more you get, life supports more of what supports life. Right? So if you give to life, life is going to give back to you. Right? So even though you're like exhausted, at the end of the day, I'm freaking lit up at the end of the day because I feel so fulfilled and gratified and all the amazing people I get to help and the stories you get to hear. Like I read the story you have on your LinkedIn profile about your client that you're working with. So I think you would agree with that, right? And it sounds like you have the same experience. So 100%, I'm aligned with what you said.
Yeah, I'm like, the times you feel more burned out is when you have nothing going on.
Yeah, I get more tired when I'm sitting on the beach for 5 hours doing nothing, right? It's kind of weird.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, because like whenever the calendar gets like it's like my energy like matches my calendar a little bit in some regard.
Yeah.
Where it's like only 3 appointments today, so I guess I can sleep in later, or I guess I don't have to, I don't have to eat my power breakfast. I don't have to read my book. So that's cool. Let me ask this question. So there was a couple questions. I was going to ask like who's been your favorite interview guest that you've had on your cool podcast?
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was about to say I forgot the second question.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the first question I'd say, I can't, dude. Well, that's a tough question, right? Because I don't want them to hear this, and I don't play favorites here, right? So you're putting me on this. I'll say some people I had a great time talking to. So one is my Shonda Brown. So she's doing some amazing work over in Bali right now. She's a good example of she's in Bali and she wanted to give back and help people during COVID. She's just kind of chilling right now. Like she did well for her business, and she raised like $20,000 in like less than 2 weeks to help Balinese people that have no food, right? Because Bali is really dependent on tourism, and obviously right now travel's kind of been shut down around the world. So that's a good example of, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing right now. We're blessed again we're lucky to be born in this time with technology and Wi-Fi and Zoom and all these things we have. You could do anything. Like either you should be building things, helping people through your bit, like innovating and figuring things out, like with technology, or if you're not, just read books all day. Like, there's no excuse. Like we have so many resources to make an impact and improve our lives or people around us. So I'd say Shonda was one. Jennifer Hopp, she's an amazing person here in Puerto Rico. She's building she has a venture capital fund. She sold a tech company in San Francisco. And now she's really helping entrepreneurs. It's called Against the Odds is the name of her venture capital fund here. But basically she is helping entrepreneurs here in Puerto Rico 100% to get up and running, right? Because Puerto Rico got hit from Hurricane Maria a few years ago, as most people know, and they want to get their economy back. So she's making really big efforts to help people. And she helps, it's a really good podcast on the mindset of an entrepreneur, because that's a good example too, what you were saying before, because most entrepreneurs, business owners, especially investors and make a lot of money, they think they got to work all the time. But she actually says, dude, you got to still take care of your mind. So she meditates, she gets her sleep, she takes her walks, she exercises, and that's how she's so successful. And she makes tons of money. She builds huge companies and she helps lots of entrepreneurs. So it's still that same thing you were saying in that world of like high success, right? Like I don't want to say should, but like there's people that still get huge benefit by these things like meditation and mindfulness and gratitude and all these things that we teach.
Yeah. Let me ask this question, kind of wrapping up, just if you could maybe give one main piece of advice to your younger self. We don't usually ask this question, but I think it's a cool kind of just carry on from this conversation. What would you tell your younger self, maybe before you even got into Wall Street, maybe while you're on Wall Street?
That's a good question. I know the answer. It's just belief, man. I didn't believe in myself. And most people don't, right? Because I love playing I always wanted to play in the NBA. And I honestly think I could have. If I knew what I knew now, I could have made the NBA, right? Not because I was good, right? But not because I was so good. But at the end of the day, the best people in the NBA, the best people aren't in the NBA, right? The people that are in the NBA, they were committed. They didn't give up. They persevered. Like JJ Redick is a good example, right? He's really good. He's obviously freaking amazing. But like there's other guys out there that are probably way better. There's guys that are probably just as good as LeBron, but they don't have the mindset, right? Like it's too hard or it's unfair or whatever it might be. So I'd say it's belief, man. And it sounds so basic and cliche and we don't even notice it. We all have limiting beliefs. They're constantly popping up, right? Because if you make $1 million, you're going to have beliefs about that. Like, oh, I don't deserve it, or I should give it to this person, or I should do this, right? Like all these little stories always creep up and it's part of being human, right? But so learning how to manage those kind of beliefs as they kind of come in and managing, it's your mindset, right? So that'd be my advice to myself, right? Is to believe it. Again, basic, but kind of cliche, but believing in myself, right? Because I would definitely and the cool thing is when you believe, you tap into more potential. When you tap into more potential, you take more action. When you take more action, you get better results. And then it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is it's also the opposite way too. If you don't believe, like right now, if somebody's listening, it's BS or whatever, that's same stuff, always blah, blah, blah. And then if you don't believe, tap into less potential, you'll less action, still sit at home, eat Doritos, whatever it is. And again, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's okay to sit at home and chill sometimes, right? That's a point. That's important too, right? But you'll take less action and then you'll get worse results and you'll be like,
I knew it.
It's too hard. COVID, the economy, I can't do it. Right now, some people are, dude, right now with COVID, I'm excited. This is like the best time for any entrepreneur, anybody. If you look at history, these are the times people build businesses and make the most money. And again, not that that's all that it's about, but that's really a big pain for a lot of people right now, money and business and work, right? Most people don't have work. Most people aren't making money. So right now, like people think it's too hard. Dude, this is when Rockefeller crushed it, Carnegie, like in 2008 when the market crashed. Like this is when the biggest opportunity is to help people. Because ultimately, to make money, you got to help people. You got to add value. And right now, there's a lot of problems that need to be solved. So if you could solve those problems, you can make money. But ultimately, it's not about the money. It's about helping people, which is what you're doing and I'm doing. And then
Yeah.
all of us coaches are doing.
Yeah.
That's why coaching is so important, as we said before in the beginning, especially now, right? It's like more than ever, people need coaching and support and it's the mindset. 80% of success is your mindset. 20% is the mechanics.
Yeah.
Because you could go read a book on investing by Warren Buffett. If you want to lose weight, you can go learn how to lose weight. Like everybody knows how to lose weight. It's not that hard to be healthy and fit, but more than ever in human history, America's obese. And it's not that hard. And if you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube for free, get a book for free, go talk to a trainer for free. Like there's all the resources we need. But again, it's not the knowing, it's the doing and the execution. I tell people, if you know it, but you don't do it, you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you know it intellectually, but you don't actually do anything with it, you don't know it.
Yeah. So I really appreciate talking to you and just learning a little bit more about you and your story. Thanks, just for sharing with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. I had a good time. Yes, really good questions. And I think you're doing awesome stuff, man. I appreciate you creating the space in the community for all these people to share and support and get the word out, man. Because that's really what it's about. You're a great business person. I know you do great marketing work too. And we need more people like you doing marketing in a good way versus the negative way. Right? Like we have a lot of people that are really good at that, but we need us out there to do it the good way too.
Yeah. And for those watching, that's kind of why we even do these shows, right? Because good people deserve to be around good people.
Yeah.
And, if you guys aren't a part of our community, that's why you need to get plugged in. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. That's why I even do these interviews. Because if I'm ever feeling down, I can just go back to one of these YouTube videos, look at exactly what we talked about here, pull myself back up, and then I just go into my community, tell them what I learned, and they just say, wow, great job. Have you tried this? X, Y, Z. So if that's what you're missing this time, come and join us by clicking the link either above or below. You will not be dissatisfied. Okay, so if that's you, join us, click the link above. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit the share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you in the next episode. Done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.